I hate videos. Now, you may be wondering, if I hate videos, what the heck am I doing here? Woohoo! Happy Wednesday. If you were listening on radio, I just played you a song by Andrew Day entitled Rise Up. Today, we will be talking with Cami Huyse. Um, she and I will be having the conversation, of course, around who she is, what she does, but specifically focusing on tenacity because that is the very thing that has enabled her to overcome the adversity that she's faced in her life. Um, if you're newly tuned in, my name is Inge van Roy, and I'm recognized as a connection catalyst. I help entrepreneurs develop a strategy so that they can stand out and connect with their ideal community. This is Wonder Women Wednesday, where we highlight ordinary women that are making an extraordinary difference, with the end goal being that we can show you that if they can do it, so can you. If you're tuned in on radio, this is Africa Online Radio, your oasis of entertainment, your Kapsa vibe, where we bring you only the very best in local and international music. Our sponsors are Tailored Shuttle Solutions, Western Cape Blood Services, Exquisite Banner Walls, Resolve Cleaning, and DNA Cafe. And if you would like to get in touch with any one of those businesses, you may send us an email at info@africa.co.za. And if you have a business and would like to advertise your own business on our platform, you may send us an email to the very same email address, which is info@africa.co.za. And if you're watching live, please know that the party actually started at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time on Africa Online Radio. So, yes, you missed the first half an hour. And if you're not going to join us there, you will miss the last half an hour as well. If you don't want to suffer from FOMO, please join us. The website is scrolling across your screen right now, which is africa.co.za. You'll want to come and join us for the last half an hour because I will teach you how you can build your own tenacity to overcome your own adversity. I'm excited because I get to talk to Cami Huyse. She and I are going to jump into how tenacity has helped her overcome. Um, and if you're listening to the radio and would like to send us a message, you may do so by sending a message to WhatsApp at +276 9 714 45204. This is the chat, the online chat for the radio station, and you may send a message to +276 9 714 45204 on WhatsApp. Without further ado, let us welcome Cami. Woohoo!
Hi, how are you? It's so
I'm
good to see you, Inger.
awesome. 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 I'm awesome. Thank you. How are you?
I am great. I'm great because I'm here with you to talk about this very important topic that I think is a key for most people that are maybe struggling a little bit. If you're struggling out there, listen in and you have like dreams of being an entrepreneur and you want to grow. I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
So am I. Um, won't you please introduce yourself and let people know who you are and what you do, Cami?
Yes. So I'm Cami Huyse. The last name is Belgian, so that's why that is. And I am a social media strategist and analyst, and I have a social media marketing agency, and I'm based in Houston, Texas. And I'm also known as a community builder. So I've built tons of communities across different brands in different places. So I also run the social media breakfast of Houston. We have a live stream every month with a new speaker talking about social media and business and where those two collide. So, yeah, I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. I'm so happy because I know that we're all going to learn from you. I'd like to acknowledge a few people that are tuned in. So let me say hello to my friend Jay. Thank you for being here. Rochelle and Babalwa as well. We appreciate you. And we have Amanda also tuned in. They've been tuned in on radio. And let's jump over to the comments on here.
Yeah, I see some here.
Say hello.
Hi, Anne.
Hello.
Hi, Katie.
Katie says, hey all, watching from my cell phone, so commenting is tough. No worries. Thank you for being here, Katie. Nice to see you.
That's tenacity, putting in that comment during
Yes,
your good example.
absolutely. And we have Anne Gwyn. She says, hello, joining in because my friend Cami is amazing.
Anne Win. Hey, Anne. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
You guys
Thank
should
you
know
for
each
being
other, by
here.
the way, Inger and Anne. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'd love to connect, and thank you for being here. And we have Whitney. Whitney says, hello from Katy, Texas. Cami, did you say you're in Houston?
I am, and I'm in Katy, Texas. So we really do need to talk. Send me a
Yes.
DM or go to camihoysa.com. I have it on the screen. There's lots of places to connect there.
Yes, you two should actually meet.
Yeah.
Whitney is amazing, also very involved with social media. So
Ah, I need to
definitely somebody for you.
know. Hmm.
Um, and we have Val. Val says, hi, Inga and Cami. It's a great day. Thank you for all you are sharing. Thank you for being here, Val.
Hi, Val.
And we have Minakshi. I met Minakshi in person a few weeks ago. She says, hello there. Attending your session after a break. Apologies, things were a little busy the last few weeks. Glad to be here. Don't worry. Nice to see you, Minakshi. Thank you for being here. Um, and Anne says, sounds great. I'll send a connection request to Inga. Thank you, Anne. Looking forward to it. How about we dive in to
Let's
the
do it.
conversation?
Let's do it.
um, Cami, can you walk us through your career journey and how you got to where you are today?
Wow, yeah, so that's a big question, but, really at the beginning, it was very difficult for me. I came from a very, I'd say blue collar family here in America. We call them blue collar, sort of lower middle class. And we didn't really have money to send me to college or anything like that. So, I was a little worried about that, but I really wanted to go and I had good grades. And so I ended up starting at a community college and kind of worked my way from there. And I put myself through school. So it took me a little bit longer than the average student. I really didn't graduate until I was about 24 years old, just putting myself through college, working at different jobs, working whatever, doing whatever I had to do to get through. And then I got out and I got out right in 2000. It was 1994. So sorry, I'm dating myself there. But there was a little bit of a bubble at that time where you couldn't get a job. It was really hard to find a job. And so I went without a job for almost an entire year. And I was working like a bunch of different jobs. And fun fact, I did get a job coding websites. It was like HTML1 or something like that. So I just, was doing whatever I could to make ends meet during that time. I know.
Yeah.
And I also got another job. I had 3 or 4 jobs at the time. Another job just putting together Adobe. It was kind of when Adobe was new, and
Mhm.
they would put together pages for magazines, and you would go in and they would say, put this, this, and this, and we would do layouts. So the art director would already have it all figured out what it would be, and you just went and you just like plop things into the right spots.
Wow.
So that was my first job. And then I got a job at a nonprofit also during this time as a part-time thing. So I just working multiple jobs, but that one was in PR and marketing. And so I put that together, put an entire strategy together for them, and they were really excited about it. And we launched their entire PR department, their communications
Wow.
department. And so that was really cool. And then I started working for the Manufactured Housing Institute, which is a which is basically a trade association in Washington, D.C. And I stayed there for 8 years.
Mhm.
Um, and then when I got married and moved to Texas, they asked me if I would continue editing their magazine for them. So I had a client, I had my first client. So I moved to Houston, I moved to Texas. At that time, it was San Antonio. And that's where things kind of fell apart because I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any contacts
Mhm.
and I had no idea how to really start a business or maintain a business. So it was a lot of hard years of learning and I ended up getting some pretty good clients, great clients, mostly by just serving. So one of the first things I did is I showed up at a PRSA San Antonio meeting and I thought, I need to meet other people. That's what I always do when I move to a new place. And I've done it a few times in my career. I'll go out and I'll start meeting people. I'll go to existing things that are already happening
Mhm.
and just help. Like, do you need me to put flyers on the table? Do you need me to move the chairs? Like, I've never been good at like too good for anything, you know? I think when you come into somebody else's space, you need to be as supportive as possible. So whenever I come into anybody's community or space, that is the first thing I do is I try to be extremely supportive. And I think that's how I got through school too, by the way. Um, really in the end of the day, it was just like showing up and showing up and showing up and showing up and being consistent. And then,
Mhm.
people start to notice you and ask you to in. So that was it. That's what I
Yeah.
did.
Yeah. Awesome.
Mhm.
So what do you do now?
So now, so another thing I was going to say, when I moved to Houston, there wasn't really anything that was serving the needs of people that were like me at the time. I said in Katy, like I was telling you. And for those of you who've been to Houston, you'll know that Katy is a bedroom community. So it takes 40 minutes to get downtown from Katy on a good day without traffic. And so
Yes.
you're kind of out there and floating. And I didn't know anybody. Again, I moved. I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any contacts. I didn't have anything. And I had small children. I had 3 small children under the age of 5. And so there was just a lot of constraints on my time. So I wanted to do something in the mornings so that I could go out and get back in time. And I had daycare, so I had help in that time period. And so I did. I launched Social Media Breakfast of Houston as a way to connect with people that were like in the same space as I was. So that was 13 years ago. So we've been having the Social Media Breakfast of Houston for 13 years now. And Anne was part of the original crew there, and I'm just saying we have a really great community of people that are committed to each other, that are committed to each other's success. So that's what I do. I try to bring people together in community through that, and I also still am a part of PRSA Houston, and I'm part of other people's communities. And I always look at things as all the boats rise together. So if somebody's doing something
Mm.
great, I don't like look at them and go, why? Like, for example, our friends Sandra and Jay Franco, they're putting on a social media day on the 30th of June, and they wanted to do that. And I'm going to jump right behind them. I'm going to send out emails to my list for them. I'm going to help them make that a success because that's the way we work. That's the way I work. I work like
Mm.
I don't care if you are having success. I'm happy for your success and I will support you and your success. I don't look at you as a competitor.
Awesome. Yes. I, you know, I'm laughing because I realize that a lot of people, when, when they are, when you and I, let's say, for example, you and I do the same thing, a lot of
Mhm.
people, their stance is, oh no, we can't do anything together because we do the same thing. And how are we going to be able to share, the resources, the
Mhm.
clients, right?
Yeah.
Um, but they don't realize that there's room for us all. We can't, like, one person can't serve everyone who has a need. So
No.
why can't we share?
I mean, hallelujah, amen, and shall we start the music? I mean, we're in
I
church
know.
here as far as I'm concerned because
Yeah.
that is absolutely the case, and I do feel that that's a real problem, and it
Yes.
it 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 breeds an environment of toxicity. And by the way, whenever you do connect together and you grow a capacity for people to want that service in a market. So, I've had many people say, "Hey, maybe I should come to your social media breakfast because maybe I'll find somebody there that can serve me in this capacity." And I'm like, yes, that's what we want. We want to have an environment where there's growth in our
Yes.
market. And that's
Yes.
what we do. And I think you can take that for I'm using social media management and social media strategy as an example, but you could do that for real estate, for
Mm,
any kind of market. I think is that together we stand better together. That's why they have trade associations. And maybe because I started in a trade association, maybe that is where that sensibility for me came from,
mm,
is that if you work together as a team, so much more can happen. Maybe that's why I kind of went that direction.
mm. I received a message actually from someone that said, that's a very valid point. We
Mhm.
can't serve everyone. Hence, collaboration is so important. Um, so very
Yeah.
important. Whitney says she sent you a DM, so that's
Yay.
good.
Good, good, Whitney. I'm glad.
And Anne says Cami is very supportive of friends, colleagues, and connections. She also says, I love how collaborative the marketing community is in Houston. And yes, Inga, you are so right. There's enough business for all.
Mhm.
Makes me wish that I was in Houston, guys. I'm so
Come
jealous.
on. Come join. I'm just
Oh my
I got a
gosh.
spare bedroom. Come on over, Inger.
And also says, I'm not a good fit for every client. Exactly.
Mm, you
And
aren't.
I
I'm
love
not either.
being able to refer them to someone who would be a good fit.
Mhm.
That is the value you can bring. Awesome. I
So
love
good.
that. I love it, love it, love it. Thank you. Thank you, Anne. Thank you, Cami. Um, Cami, this is your first time
Yeah.
on a show with me. So you may or may not have heard my phrase. And it's not mine, it's actually a South African phrase or word. You would have seen it in the intro video,
Mhm.
which is Ubuntu.
Yes.
So, Ubuntu, yes, it is a Linux application, but that's not the origin of the word. So, Ubuntu, like me, has roots in South Africa,
Mhm.
and it's an ancient African word that means humanity to others. It is often described as reminding us that I am because we are. And this is where my sense of community comes from because I was raised in South Africa. I
Mhm.
grew up with this concept. I know what it's like, I've witnessed this and it's happened to me where I was actually a child at the age of 2. I walked straight out of my grandmother's yard into the street,
Yikes.
and a neighbor saw me and grabbed me and brought me back to my mom. To be honest with you, there are communities where this does not happen. I know that many people take this to be commonplace or normal, but there
Mhm.
are places where it doesn't happen,
Yeah, it's true.
um, where people watch something go
Mhm.
wrong and do nothing.
Mhm.
For example, I'll just tell you quickly, I live in Toronto, Canada, very large, cosmopolitan city. Um, a few years ago, quite a few years ago actually, I was pregnant with my now 15-year-old daughter. I would take the bus every morning with the same people at the same time. And it was winter, it had snowed overnight, and the temperature was a little bit warmer than what it was when it snowed. So the snow was melting. And I crossed the street and I fell in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
Would you believe? All the people that I took the bus with in the morning, they stood there on that corner and they looked at me. They just watched me. And I couldn't get up because I was almost 8 months pregnant.
Oh, good
And so
lord.
my knees were knocking against my stomach and I couldn't get
Mhm.
up. I was
Sorry.
slipping. It's okay. I do get a bit sad when I think about it, but what
What a
happened?
contrast between the first story and the second.
Yeah. Um, and I think it's just, I don't know, is it the place where I am as opposed to the previous time? But I will say that somebody saw me from across the street diagonally and he walked across that intersection diagonally to come to me and help me up. And I never saw that person again. I, he helped me up. He walked me to the corner, and I said thank you, and he left. I never saw him again, and I just thought to myself, this is insane. These people see me. They see my stomach
Mhm.
every single day, and didn't help me. That's because there's lack of community, lack of togetherness.
Yeah.
You know, in that um, I didn't even speak to those people, and I would travel with them every day. So they didn't know me as a person. And I think if
Mm.
we build and foster that sense of community, when you need that little bit of salt or you need a cup of sugar, you're able to go and knock on your neighbor's door and say, can you please help me? But before that, we really can't, right?
Mm. No,
It's
you're
really
so
sad.
right. Oh my gosh. I mean, I love this story because, a couple of things. Number 1, that's called the bystander effect. There's actually
Yes.
a term for it, and I learned about that when I was taking a CPR class. The man that was teaching me the CPR class, I was doing it for a Girl Scout troop. I was a Girl Scout troop leader, and I took all the Girl Scouts to learn CPR.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things he said is that whenever you're in a first aid situation or a situation like that, like, you see somebody on the floor, people will often freeze and not know what to do and not know what to say. And then they just won't do anything at all. And so they train you to like turn, look at the person and give them a command, like, go get me a blanket or call 911 or come help me. And then people will spring into action. And if one springs into action, guess what happens?
They all do.
All of them will spring it. So if even one
Yes.
person had stepped forward, all of them would have stepped forward. I promise you that's what would have happened. And you know what
Mm-hmm.
that means? That means each one of us has the power
Mm-hmm.
to lead a group of people to do the right thing in
Yes.
any situation. And so you said you would love to be in Houston. I'm glad you do. But yeah, guess what? You can create this in Toronto. Absolutely. You
You're
by
right.
yourself. I mean, because I stepped out. I said, nothing exists. And then I, talked to Sandra Fernandez, and Sandra Fernandez and she introduced me to Jennifer Tejada, who is working at MD Anderson as one of the first social media managers. And then guess what? We started Social Media Breakfast as a team. And so I just am saying that,
Mm-hmm.
it
You're right.
takes one person to not look at a problem and say, "Oh, like I wish this were solved."
Mm.
And instead say, "Maybe I am the solution because I see the problem."
Wow. Yeah. You're right, and I won't. Okay, so I attended your workshop
Mhm.
last year,
Gosh.
and
You need to
before
make
that,
yourself bigger. I feel like you're too small.
no, this is you. Okay, I'll
Uh,
make myself bigger just
Thank you.
quickly. So, when was your workshop? Can you remind me the date?
Yeah, I don't have the exact date in my head, but it was, like, last October, probably,
Okay,
roughly.
so at that
Instant
point,
authority, instant authority. By the way,
yes.
I'm doing it again in September, PS.
Oh,
Yeah.
if you have not attended that workshop, trust and believe, even if you know things about social media, trust and believe you will learn something. So I encourage you, if you're listening or if you're watching, you should go and attend that workshop. Just visit kamihoyse.com. So KAMIHUYSE.com. Visit Cami's website, connect with her, and she'll keep you in the loop on when this is happening. But definitely it is of great benefit to those that would like to tap into that.
Mhm.
So anyway, back to my story. I attended your workshop, and remember I told you before that I had been ruminating on really launching a newsletter. And there were many things that discouraged me from doing it. But when I attended your workshop, I remember you said, start a newsletter. That is something that's so important to help you foster that community. And because you told me, and someone else also told me, so it was confirmation that I should do it, I launched my newsletter at the end of December on LinkedIn, and I have more than 2,600 subscribers.
It makes me so
So,
happy.
so when you speak, I listen. And I will tell you also that I've been thinking about doing something about us not having something similar to what you're speaking of. So I do need to listen and do, not just listen,
And
do as well.
and the words are powerful, so, like, you can speak life into other people by
Yes.
this, like, I mean, me telling you, "Start the newsletter," it's just like that CPR guy, like, turn around and tell people what they if you see what they need to do, tell them.
Yes.
Because it may be the difference
Yes.
it may make all the difference in the world for their future, for, like, other people. I mean,
Yes.
everything, that goes on, like, so you have this story that you tell. I think about the woman who saved you.
Mm,
I mean, who wouldn't save a two-year-old from the street? I mean, don't get me wrong,
yeah.
um, but I'm so grateful for that woman. Like, I
Yes.
would never have met Ingor if, like, she got run over by a car in, like, South
Yes.
Africa, back then when she was 2, and so you just don't know what you put into motion when you make one little tiny effort. Like, even that guy,
Yes.
I mean, he didn't want a hero's welcome. He just wanted
No.
he's like, "Somebody go help that lady that's on the ground," and he had in his mind, he had a again, let's bring in the word tenacity. You have to have, like I guess the word tenacity to me means really just, um, moving forward even in the, absence of confirmation.
Mm, mm,
Moving forward in the absence of confirmation, because sometimes the confirmation doesn't come till years later, just like you just told me, instant authority. Like, I should have, like, launched it in the spring, and I didn't, and I really need to launch it again, and I know I do, and so you just saying that to me, like, and you coming out and telling me that, a few weeks ago was like, "Oh, I mean, this is for other people, right? I need to do
yeah.
this. Like, this is a really big deal. I need to do it."
Yes. It
So,
is. It is. Even if they just receive one word from you, that's
mhm.
important, right? Um, by the way, I am launching something this coming Monday for people that are part of my community. So anybody that would like to be part of it, we're doing a community connection online meetup on Monday. So if you would like to be part of it, please send me a message. I have created a post on LinkedIn and I need to do another one so that people are aware of it. We have quite a few people that have already signed up. So if you're watching or listening, I am launching an online meeting that's going to take place this Monday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please send me a message and come and be part of it. It's so important, right? And so, just to follow up to what I was saying about Ubuntu, to me, Ubuntu means the fact that I am who I am as a result of you, as a result of Russ, as a result of Whitney, of Katie that are in the comments, right? That's who I am. And for me, community means just bringing it all together and having connection with others. What does community mean to you?
Yeah, so I mean, Ubuntu, I mean, I've heard the term before and love it. One of the things that I think is really important is that no one is a self-made person.
Yes.
I mean, if at the very least your mother had you.
Right?
Somebody, even if that mother was not a great mother, the mother had you, right?
Yeah.
So you are not a self-made person.
Yeah.
And the desire that we have and the really the rhetoric around, going out and making your way in the world is it's misguided because it's like you can't get there by yourself. You can't. And so
Mm,
tenacity is part of that too, in the sense that you need to, if you feel alone and you feel isolated, I'm so sorry. I'm so
mm,
sorry. I mean, I know that it can be really lonely.
mm.
And certainly the last few years has been even harder. So reach out for community. Reach
Yes.
out, reach out, reach out, because there's so many people that are willing to embrace you, and there are places that are going to take you in. And so I just keep looking, and if you can't find a suitable place, make one of your own.
Yes.
So
Yes. 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 So listen and do, like I said. Don't just listen.
mhm,
Implement those things that you learn from others. It's so important.
yeah.
Cami,
Yes.
um, I think you've already said it, but can you reiterate for us? How is what you do related to community?
What I do related to what community.
Yeah.
So again, social media is my jam. And the reason why I picked social media, because when I first started my career, there was no social media. There was no such thing. Sorry. There was very little. There was GeoCities or something like that. I don't know. There were a few online communities. They were all listservs and that kind of thing. There really wasn't a lot of what we have now. And I was in public relations. That's where I started in PR. And we would, our job was two-way communication with publics. That's really
Mm,
what we talked about, is like, having an audience and publics and people that we talk to. And what I realized almost immediately is it was almost impossible. You can't have a two-way conversation with an ad or with a press release to a journalist, or, these kinds of things. And so when social media first came around, it was blogs, right? People were blogging, and they were blogging about their lives mostly. And I just could not see myself blogging about my life, like day to day, like what I ate and I didn't have any kids at the time, but anything. I'm like, what do
mhm,
I do? I walk to and from work. I'm like, I don't, anyway, I did things, but I just didn't like that idea. And
yeah.
then I ran across a couple of blogs that were really about business and how, and the way that you think. And I always was thinking about ideas for how to reach
Mm.
people, how to talk to people. And I love the idea of a blog. So in 2005, I launched a PR blog called Communications Overtones.
Oh,
And it was really all about, I'm also a musician. So this idea of like communication and how, um, in music, sometimes you'll hit an overtone, and that's like you hit one note, but you get two at the same time, because like, one plus one equals three kind of an idea.
yeah.
And so, again, community, right? Like the idea of that, together we are much better. And
Yes.
so I started talking about that and putting that together. And I had a lot of success around it because I started to notice there were other people that were blogging. And at first, I was blogging and blogging and blogging. And, people wouldn't comment. There would be no, it just felt like I was sort of screaming into the
Mhm.
void. Like, I'm talking, but nobody's listening. And what I started doing is I started going out and commenting on other people's blogs, and I made it about my daily practice about supporting other people and what they were doing.
Mm,
So I'd go out, I'd comment on what they were doing, I'd add to it, not just, "Hey, great job," but like I'd say, "This is what it made me think about, and what do you think about this?" And I'd ask insightful questions and a really good comment, like a
yeah,
meaty comment. And
tell you.
it immediately got me noticed by these people. I mean, immediately. And we started to have conversations in the comments. And then guess what? They would follow my little link and they'd go and see what I wrote on my blog. And I started getting comments because you have to give first to receive,
Yes.
in my opinion. So, um, but I learned that lesson in that
Mm-hmm.
time. And so social media, I learned from the very early days was really about community, almost from
Mm-hmm.
the very first minute. Obviously,
Mm-hmm.
Twitter came and then Facebook um, and then all the rest, Instagram and TikTok and LinkedIn and all of these channels
Yes.
popped up. But sometimes people ask me, like, which channel should I focus on, right? And I say, focus on the channel where your community is.
Yes.
You follow your community. I've been doing this for the social media side of things for 16 years now. And you follow your community.
Mm-hmm.
I was on Twitter. I mean, Twitter is my jam. Like, I love Twitter. But, not a whole lot of my community is there anymore, like some. So I go there for that community for specific reasons. Madeline Sklar is a really good
Mm,
example of that. She does a Twitter Smarter Chat, and
yes.
Spaces on Thursdays. So I'll go buy that. But I'm just saying, I'm spending a lot more time on LinkedIn now than I did ever before, because
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn is just, I mean, you guys are here. You're my peeps, So I go where the community is, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's what you need to look at too for your business. What
Yeah.
community are you in, and where do you need to
Yes.
be?
Yes. Absolutely. Let's go to the comments and see what people are
Yay.
saying. Okay. Anne says, I'm familiar with Ubuntu and I love the concept. Absolutely. I'm glad. She says, we are better together. And I love to see networking in the comments.
I do
My
too. It's so cool. This is like perfect. This is a perfect example. Good job, guys. Keep
It's
talking.
my favorite. And Val says, Inga and Cami, what you are saying is so powerful. Community and building relationships really does make a difference. A heart difference.
Yep. Agreed.
I love it. And says, great conversation. I've got to run to a meeting. Thank you.
We're
Thank you for
busy.
being
Busy people.
here.
Yeah.
Thank you. Um, and I want to read. So I'm also getting comments on my phone.
Oh, wow. You get them everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to read just a little bit. This person says, I love that. Everybody can lead. And
Hmm.
I said, also, that is so powerful. I am the solution,
You
right?
are.
We're always looking at somebody else to come
Mhm.
up with an idea on how to solve the problem. But no, we need to be the solution. I love that you said that, Cami. Um, oh my gosh. This is someone that I talk to fairly often, and I'm always, I'm LinkedIn is my place, right? I
Mm.
love LinkedIn. I do everything on there. I'm actually thinking about launching an audio event.
Oh,
TBD, TBD. What do you think about that?
I think it's great if your audience wants it because I think that that's a great what's nice about that is these audio events, they can talk with you. Like, so that's the nice
Yes,
thing about LinkedIn audio is that
yes,
you guys can actually have a voice too. So not
yes,
just the comments, but we can hear your beautiful voices rising
yes,
together. Yeah, I love that. And by the way, we're going to be talking with Madeline Sklar. She does a lot of these and spaces on Twitter. We're going to
yes.
be doing on the 14th of July, Social Media Breakfast is going to be having a conversation with her about how she takes those and turns them into podcasts.
What?
Yup.
Okay, Cami, please. Like,
I'll
I
send
need
you a
to
link.
start. Yes,
Yeah,
please. I need
you'll need
to.
to
I
stalk
need
that one.
to.
Yeah. You
But
need to know
not
Madeline.
just,
Anyway, you need to know Madeline because she's just amazing on that audio side of things. So yeah,
yes.
definitely get to know her.
I've been in her audio space
Mhm.
before.
Yeah.
Um, yeah,
But
she's amazing
in
on
Houston
Twitter.
also, just PS.
Oh, hashtag jealous. Oh my God.
We grew up a group of people that have gone on to do some amazing things in Houston. So I feel very confident about our community because it's an incubator for greatness.
Mm,
You want to have a community that is an incubator for greatness.
yes.
But in order to
Yes.
do that, you have to let other people be great.
Yes. And where you can go and speak your friends' names in rooms full of opportunities, right?
Like here, how many names
Yes.
have I spoke to you today? Quite a few.
Yes. Awesome. Um,
Mhm.
so this person that I'm telling you, I love LinkedIn. I'm always talking about LinkedIn, and I've spoken about it with her. She says, "Okay, maybe I need to learn about this LinkedIn." Cami just convinced me. Yes, come
Love it.
over. I would say come over to the dark side, but it's not. It's the bright side. Um, okay, so Cami, um, we've spoken about different things, your career journey,
Mhm.
community, etc. How has tenacity become your thing?
Yeah, we talked about this. Like you were asking me, what's the one word like that got me
Mhm.
through everything? And I said tenacity. And I guess, and as I said in my post on LinkedIn, it's some people may call it stubbornness. Maybe my mother might call me stubborn a little. Um,
Mm.
I still remember her saying, "You would argue with a fence post." I'm like, yeah. Um, it is stubbornness, but I'm stubborn in the way that I just won't give up. So like there's days where I feel like should I be doing this
Mm.
anymore? Like should I continue to move forward? Should I continue to do so like do these communities and like have am I washed up, am I too old? I mean, there's so many things we say to ourselves in our head, right? Like I'm a
Oh
has
yeah.
been, I'm like a and coming up, I mean, I told you I came up from nothing. I mean, we had no money, we had nothing. And going through college, I did not go through, you said keep it short, so I kept it short, but it was couch surfing, it was
Mm.
hard scrabble, like, how do I get through it? I think the only thing that really got me through in the end was I got a job as a resident advisor toward the
Mhm.
end of that. And the first time that I went in to apply to be a resident advisor, I needed a place to live. Honestly, that's really it. I was living in Washington, D.C., living in really interesting places. I lived in somebody's loft for a while where his rabbit ran free and came and chewed up all my cords. I mean, I lived in weird places. I did just to survive. And so again, I thought, "Oh, here's a solution. I could become a resident advisor, and I could serve students and also have a place to live. It would be awesome." So I
Mhm.
went to apply for that, and then they didn't choose me, not because they didn't like me, I think they did, but I never lived on campus. So there was like a catch 22. So you may feel that way sometimes too, where people say you can't do this because you're not there yet. Or you may think, well, I need to get people on my email list, but I don't have an audience. Or you just think about all the ways that you can think about this. It's like
Mhm.
chicken or egg, is it the chicken or egg that comes first? So I applied and they said no. And I was like, okay. And then the summer came of that same year and they put up the job thing again. We need RAs for the summer. So I applied again.
Oh.
I applied again. They told me
Mm.
no, but I
Mm.
applied again. And I applied for the summer session. And I came in and I said, I know I've applied before, but I really, really want to do this. I really think I'd be great. I mean, I just, talked to them again. And that time they chose me. Also, it was a lot harder to get
Mm.
us people in the summer to stay, I think. But
Yes.
again, I got in at a time that was difficult to get in. And I just kept knocking at the door until they let me in politely, obviously, but
You didn't say,
politely but
"Let me
tenaciously,
in."
but just tenaciously,
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think if they'd said no to me, I would have tried again because that's just who I am. I'll just try
Mm,
again and I'll try, not in an annoying way. You have to go through the channels. You can't like
mm-hmm.
I've had people say, well, you should have me speak for social media breakfast. And I'm like, well, okay, well, what are you bringing to the audience? Well, I just think that I should speak there. And I'm like, but like,
What's the
what's
value?
the value you're bringing? Like, who are
Yeah.
you? And so I've had people be really rude about it. And guess what? I just kind of ignore their emails after a while. It's just what I
Mm-hmm.
do. But like, if I see that you're going to bring some value to my audience, that you're in, like I'm bringing you in, but I need to know what that is. It needs to be, you have to have done something that I can show them, that where they can learn. Again, like you, Inger, like having somebody that can show people that they can do it is something that's really important to me. So anyway, that's how I mean by tenacious. I just don't give up very easily. Even when I'm feeling like when I'm having full blown depression, and I've had that too. Like after my first
Yeah.
child, I had postpartum depression, and it was rough. It was like very rough, and I was crying all the time, which is not like me. And my husband's like, something's wrong with you. And instead of like not listening to him, I said, okay. So I went to the doctor and they gave me medicine, and I took the medicine, and then I felt better.
Mm-hmm.
That's tenacious too. Just understanding when you need help and going and getting it when you need it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then when I need it, I get it. I'll go get help if I need it, but and not feel bad about it and not feel shame. So I think part of tenacity is not letting shame overtake you.
Yes. And you reiterated something that I feel, you know, it's becoming a theme for me when I interact with you, which is listen and do. Listen and implement. Don't just listen. Take what you've listened to and learned from and implement that, because that's the way that you're going to grow forward, right? Stop,
Mhm.
you know, yes, when you listen to a motivational speaker or an inspirational speaker or somebody that's speaking about something, it can make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside, makes you feel good, etc. But you can actually prolong that feeling if you take what they said and implement it so that you can then multiply that feeling, right? Otherwise, it just ends there. Just ends there. Let's see. Whitney says,
I'm just gonna say, hope without action is
ooh,
guaranteed disappointment.
yes, yes. Whitney says, incubator for greatness. Woohoo! She loves that.
Yeah.
And Val says the same thing. She says, Cami, that is brilliant. Have a community that is an incubator for greatness. Whitney says, two, don't let shame overtake you. Wow. Thank you. Okay, Cami, we have one thing that I'd like to talk
Okay.
about. We don't have a lot of time, but um, can you share with us about this big project that you've been working on, please?
Yeah. Yes. So, I just wrote a book with 36 people. So, this is the book. It's called The Most Amazing Marketing Book Ever, and it's part of a community project that is led by Mark Schaefer, who is a well-known marketing author. He's written 10 books, many of them bestsellers, about marketing, and very, very good books, by the way, like just amazing books about community building. He's also on the same vibe as I am. I've known him for over a decade. We sat in a lot of halls and like conferences. By the way, conferences are a great place to meet people that are like-minded. So I would attend conferences and meet with people. And I met Mark at a conference, and we've kept in touch ever since. And a few years ago, about a year, maybe two, he decided to go create a coin, like a NFT and a coin, and he created a community around that. And I thought, I don't know anything about this at all, like Web3, all that kind of stuff. And I knew that I needed to learn about it. And
Yeah.
so this is another thing I do tenaciously, by the way, is I will put myself in very uncomfortable positions to learn new things. And so I bought the coin, I joined the community, and I learned how to use Discord, which is and yeah, because the community is built on Discord.
Okay.
And we started to talk to each other, and it's such a great group of marketers. Like, they're all the same, and many of them are very well known, thought leaders and subject matter experts. And so we were started to say, wow, we have like a conference in this community. Like, there's just everybody knows so much. And so we said we need to share that with the world. And so there's a guy, Zacher. He came up with this idea. He said, let's write a book. And Mark's like, okay, let's do that. And so each one of us took a chapter, and we wrote one chapter in the book about our
Awesome.
topic of. So I wrote about future proofing your social media strategy. And that really is, how do you make yourself future proof against all of these changes in social media? And then other people wrote about Facebook, TikTok, that. And then there's a bunch of stuff. There's even one in here about, like, are billboards still relevant and how can you make them relevant? I mean, there's so much in here.
Awesome.
And a lot of it for small business owners. It's meant for that, really. So you don't
Mhm.
have to have a lot of experience. But if you do have a lot of experience, even I wrote down so many tips out of this, like just writing and writing and writing. My fellow authors. So yeah, a community book. We wrote it, we put it together. And then I realized that we had 36 marketers all like together, and I'm like, who's going to lead this and how is this going to work? And so I went to Mark and I said, listen, I have a PR agency. I'm willing to put my entire agency behind this free of charge. We'll just do it, and make this one of our clients. And I want to make sure we promote this really well. So let's be a single point of contact. And so I took that on, and we put together the most amazing marketing book launch. I knew that with a name like that, we needed to have
Mhm.
an amazing launch. Um, and so we did the 24 hours of amazing marketing content, which, by
Wow.
the way, you can have access to that. I would have to grab the link for you real quick, but you can just DM me and I'll send you access to that. It's just you just sign up with your email and you can go watch all of the content we did. We interviewed every
Wow.
single one of these authors. It's free. So just send me a DM on LinkedIn and I will absolutely 100% send you the link. Um, and that is what we did. And so, yeah, it's been great. Like, there's so many very talented people in that group, and they've all stepped up to take a part of the marketing. And it's been amazing.
Wow. Would you mind actually dropping it in the comments
Oh, the
at some
link.
point? Yes, please.
Yeah, I will.
Um, I
I have to go to Bitly to get it. So just
sorry.
give me a second.
Okay. And then
But
what
yes,
I
so
will
keep going.
do
Keep
for
asking.
the listeners that are on the radio, if you drop the comment here, I'll copy it and I'll put
Mhm.
it on the WhatsApp chat
Yeah.
as well. Um, but that'll be awesome, and I can actually
Oh,
also
that's wonderful.
display
Thank
it
you.
on the
Yeah,
screen.
I'll get it for
Yeah,
you.
that's fine, no problem. Thank you. So,
Yeah, I'll bring it right to you right now. Give me a second.
no
Keep
problem.
going. I can answer questions while I'm looking. I
Okay.
love it.
Okay, so I have a question about what did you do actually to market this, the most amazing marketing book ever?
Yeah, so the main thing was this 24-hour thing. And then we also are appearing on podcasts. So we're making sure that each author appears on at least one or two podcasts. So we've pitched
Mhm.
different podcasts to ask them if they mind if we do that. And also, by the way, I'm putting this in the private chat for you, just so you have
Yes,
it.
that's good.
Mhm.
Thank you.
And then maybe you can go from there because it's probably going to go better from there.
Yep.
So that's what we did, and so we're still in the process of that. Like yesterday, we did a podcast with 5 of the authors. You can find it on my LinkedIn profile right now because I was on there yesterday with 5 of them. But every day, like pretty much, people are doing podcasts. So we're continuing to have a drip, drip, drip of communication. We also we did a 2.99 special, which is gone now, but that was really cool too. So at the beginning, we asked people to download it as a Kindle book and read it and review it. The big thing for authors, guys, to help an author out, you just need to review their book on Amazon. It's like the top thing you can do. I mean, posting about it is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. But actually reviewing it on Amazon is like the biggest gift. So for example, Inger, right now we're in talks with a publisher who is thinking about translating this into multiple languages. But I think we need about 50 reviews to get started. So if you are so inclined to buy the book, we have it in Audible. Audible's really cool because every author recorded their own chapter. So you can hear the author in their own voice. And yeah, and the book itself, yesterday we were talking to Tim Hughes, who was interviewing us, and he said what he was amazed by is that even though every chapter was written by a different author, it felt like it all flowed together. So it does. We have a good format, and yeah, it needs, in order to do a community book like this, it needs to have like structure and somebody to kind of lead it along, which is Mark, right? Mark Schaefer led along the content creation part, and I've
Yeah,
been helping with the marketing side.
awesome. So for those of you that are watching, the link is scrolling across your screen. And for those that are listening, it is a bit.ly link. So it's B as in Bob, IT dot ly / 24 HR instant replay. So 24 HR instant replay. I will also drop that link in the WhatsApp group for those that are listening and commenting on WhatsApp.
And you don't,
Tenacity.
and by the way,
Ooh,
with that link, you don't have to sign up. You don't have to give your email, nothing. You can just go watch it.
awesome. I will definitely check it out. Um, Amanda sent us an image. It's about tenacity, so I want to read it for you. It
Love
says,
to.
tenacity is setting a goal so big you can't possibly achieve it, then growing into the person who can. Ooh, that
Ooh,
was
that was good.
fire. Yeah, let me
That
say
was
it again for the people in the back. Tenacity is setting a goal so big you can't possibly achieve it, then growing into the person who can.
Oh, and by the way, that was the book, for me because I've never promoted a book.
Yeah.
I've done other things, but I wanted to learn. So I love that so much because that is absolutely it. Put yourself in those uncomfortable positions to learn because you can't learn without, like muscle when you build your muscle in the gym, you have to break the muscle to grow it. I'm not saying you should be broken, but you
Yes.
have to like you have you have to like break your muscle to bring it back together into something that's bigger and stronger. So there is going to be a element of brokenness in any learning experience if
Yes,
you're doing.
absolutely. I'm just posting this in the WhatsApp group
Thank you,
so that
Whitney.
people can get it.
Yeah, Whitney put it
Um,
in for us. Thanks.
it's a pleasure. And thank you. Thank you for availing yourself to be with me. I know that you're not at home, you're
No, I'm not.
traveling.
You can see I'm in like a hotel room. I am. I brought along my podcast mic though. So there you
Wow.
go.
um, I think, no, I haven't done that. I've traveled to South Africa while I was still able to go
Mhm.
live, and I went live, but without a mic. Um, no, I was not going to travel all the way there with a mic.
Well, this is part of my tenacity. So, again, this is an example because this week I have more live streams this week than I've had like in the last 3 weeks. But my
Wow.
daughter had a camp and she found out that it was a day camp. And so, parent had to come and rent a hotel room. And I'm like, oh, it's the last week that I have with all these live streams. And so, I said, you know what? I'm going to learn how to take a kit with me on the road. So I bought a cool little light, which you can kind of see it's lighting me here, and a
Yeah.
neat little stand to put it on. And I got them all on Amazon last week. And I put this all together so that I could do these road shows. And I thought, you know what? It's good timing. It's a good thing for me to learn how to do this because
Yes.
now I know how. It's not like I can't do it because I'm on the road. No,
Yeah.
I now know how to do this on the road. And everything fits in a backpack.
Nice.
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tenacity at its best. Cami, you are such an inspiration. I'd like to read you a message before I let you
Okay.
go. Um, and this is from one of my friends. They said, it inspires me to hear how, on her own, she is a great encouragement, but always makes a point of it to make it known that she did not do it on her own, and how she mentions others' names constantly not only tenacious but humble as well, always giving the next person a platform. If everyone could think this way, it would make things so much easier and portray more acts of support, cheering for each other, building up the next person, and eliminating the thought or action of competing.
You're making me cry. So there you are.
It's okay. That's what happens here. You're not the first person to cry on my show. I've cried many times, and many of my guests have as well. But
It's the
we
most
keep it
important thing to
real.
me. It's the most important thing to me. It really
Keep
is.
it real.
Like if it can be said of me in the future, like when I'm dead and gone, like if somebody still remembers something that I did for them. So I'm going to mention my boss, Bruce Savage, that when I first started working at the Manufactured Housing Institute, I didn't have a credit card. I didn't have like any money and my car broke down. And this man from the very beginning, like even when I was in college, I had met him and he took me to PRSA meetings and luncheons and introduced me to people. And then later he hired me when I got out of college, like that after that year of no job, he hired me. He passed away during COVID.
Mm.
And but when my car broke down, he gave me the money I needed to fix my car and let me pay him back. And I mean,
Wow.
we are built on the shoulders of giants that have come
Yes.
before us
Yes.
and people that were willing to cross the street counterways to come and pick us up off of our
Right.
butt. So if you're not willing to cross the street and pick somebody up, then yeah, no, you may be successful in some way, don't get me wrong, but you
Mm.
won't have that satisfaction inside of yourself that
Yes.
that you have helped other people to succeed. And I
Mm.
I can't tell you how proud I am of seeing people that have surpassed me.
Mm.
I mean, we were part of the global tea break. That's where we met, I do believe.
Yes.
And so, those are the kinds of people like Alan Hennessy used to listen to my podcast and with Madeline and, kind of he was fanboying us and being really sweet and we loved him. And, and then when he started the global tea break with D. Scott Smith, they called me and they said, how did you do this with social media breakfast? And what do you do with that? And P.S.
Mm.
They picked the date so I could come because I'm like, don't pick the Friday that I. So I mean, we help each other. It just makes such
Yes.
a big difference. And I would
Mm.
say, they are surpassing. That is like a global community that's so
Mm.
amazing.
It's
Here I
awesome.
am talking to you. It just anyway. I just
Yes.
that's the kind of thing you want to build in your life. You want to build things that you can be proud of even
Hmm.
after you are gone.
Yes. And we all need to remember that we are but a thread in this tapestry of life. We are connected to one another and we are better together. So thank you, Cami, for taking time to be here with me. Um, it was an amazing conversation, and I'm so happy to see how much you've grown since I've even met you. I've been part of the Global Tea Break for about 2 years now,
Mhm,
and that is what community is about
mhm,
for me. It's a privilege and my honor to be able to have you here and share your name in this room of opportunities. Um, I look forward to seeing what happens, and I'm going to be knocking on your door to um, tap into how you did it because I'd
mhm.
love to. I see what you've done, and I'd like to emulate you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you for having me. Ubuntu for everybody. Yes, I love this. So, yeah, this is my new word for this week.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Awesome. Make it an amazing day. And if you
Yeah,
need to drop off, that's okay. I will be wrapping up the conversation. So I'll send you to the green room. Take care. Be
awesome.
blessed.
Bye.
Bye. And if you're still listening, please don't rush away. We are still going to continue this conversation on africa.co.za. We're scrolling the website across your screen, and my name is Inga van Roy. This is Wonder Women Wednesday, It is June 21st and episode 16 of the segment. You can join us on africa.co.za. Thank you so much for being here. Be blessed. And I will see you back here next week for another episode of Wonder Women Wednesday. Thank you again to our awesome guest, Cami. And please check out her link and support her. Buy the book, whether it's Audible, Kindle, or the copy itself. Please check out her book and support her. She has been amazing in sharing with us. Thank you so much. See you next week.